Good evening, everyone. Hope you are well. It is Wednesday, the 20th of May, and we're back with another episode of Kicking It With Kop-Ish. I say another episode, but it's pretty special, isn't it? On your screens right now, you will see the one and only, the Don, as we like to call him. The Don, as we like to call him. Don Robbie Lau from Aftv. Welcome to the show. How you doing, Robbie?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Nice weather today, just chilling. I feel a bit tired today, man. I don't know if it's the heat, but it's been a nice day today.
Definitely. I'll be honest, I've not had a chance to go out today. I've been working all day and childcare duty and all that, so it's been a bit of a mad one. But I'm glad you got to enjoy it, Robbie.
Yeah, I went out earlier sort of earlier today, actually. I've had a lot to do with myself as well today, but even looking out the window, it looks nice.
Matt Drifty, how you doing? Matt, is that a basketball jersey? What are you saying? You got the arms out today, yeah?
Bro, it's that time, innit? Bro,
show them
hot,
the guns,
bro.
baby. Show them the guns,
it's
baby.
Hot. It's hot, bruv. You know what I'm saying? It's how we do around here, man.
I think they want to see the guns, man. I think they want to see the guns.
Less of that, bruv. I ain't been watching out.
Matt, you're so English. Little piece of sun and you get your skin out.
Look at this guy here. This guy's wearing his shades indoors.
I've got low level eye problems, bro. That's
to do with it. His shades on his head top.
Yeah. Low light. If it gets too long, I'm gonna have to bring them down, bro.
This guy.
All right, so Robbie, the first question we ask all of our guests when they come on is, what is the one thing you think you took for granted before the lockdown restrictions that you won't take for granted once the lockdown restrictions are completely lifted?
Health. Right, health.
Amen.
Definitely health, because since this lockdown, I've been training every single day. I've been going for a walk every day. I've been going bike rides. I've had that bike about 2 years that I've got here. And I've only really started using it since this lockdown, you know what I mean? And yeah, I've been eating better. I've been training. I've been looking after myself much better because of what's happened. So I'm not going to take that for granted no more. I think when this lockdown ends, that's one thing I'm going to make sure I continue on, because you know, that you can't do, as this has shown, you can't do nothing without your health. If your health ain't there, it doesn't matter what you're doing, it's going to come to a standstill. So yeah, that's definitely, for me, the main thing I take from this is health is wealth, man.
Well said, Robbie. Well said. Well said. Couldn't echo that any better. Obviously, we're a Liverpool channel. I see the jersey you're wearing.
Come on,
bold, I'll give you that. So we are going to ask you some Arsenal questions, Arsenal-related questions today. I think it's only right, as you're giving us the time to come on our platform and speak to us. So again, thank you for that. So what's your overall thoughts on sort of Arsenal season so far up until the delay of the Premier League restarting, and what's the sort of general consensus around fans with the whole notion of the Premier League going back? What sort of vibes are you getting from the Arsenal supporters?
Yeah, well, Arsenal up until this season, I think, has been a very mixed. You got to say it's been a very poor season for Arsenal. You know what I mean? You don't come onto a channel like you guys, you're all smiling, all happy, because right. Like, with us at the moment, it's, you know, it's very, we're in a state of transition, and obviously, you know, after having the same manager for 20 odd years, we've had like 3 managers in a season. You know, so I think you know, Unai Emery was at the start of this season an absolute disaster. You know, we were absolutely terrible. And it was, where we are in the league is no fluke. It's no, you know, that we deserve to be there. But since, you know, Lumber took over, it still weren't much better. But since Arteta's come in, there's a lot of optimism around the place. You know what I mean? We started playing a lot better. We were actually unbeaten in 2020. So we was actually playing pretty decent. And I think, if anything, the break didn't really come at a great time for us because we were starting to get a bit of a momentum up. As I said, we hadn't lost a game this year. We'd had victories over Manchester United. We were doing all right. You know what I mean? So, but certainly this is a team and a whole club at the moment that's really in a state of transition. It's a bit like where you guys were about, say, just when Klopp came in. You know what I mean? Where it's a bit all over the place, and there's a lot of players there that they need to go. There's a lot of players there that have been in a comfort zone for a long time. So there's a lot of changes that are needed at the club. On whether the season should come back, it's been really mixed. Personally, myself, I've always been an advocate of if we can get the season finished, we should finish, because I don't like what I've seen in some of these other leagues where the league has been cancelled and it's been handed to people. You know what I mean? Like what happened to Celtic yesterday, and you send the team gets relegated and the league wasn't completed. Me and Drifty have had a lot of back and forth and arguments on our channel when I've had him on. Yeah. Personally, I've always been of like, let's try our hardest to finish the season so that you guys can win the league, and so that the top 4 is decided properly, the top 6 is decided properly, and the relegation is decided properly. And I just don't like what I see where in Belgium and in France where things are handed to people. You haven't mathematically won it, or lost, or you haven't mathematically deserved to go down. So I don't like when I see those things. So me personally, I really would like to see the season finished. There have been other people, Arsenal fans, who've been like, no, you know what I mean, just it's not right to play football yet. But I think the measures that have been taken have been sensible. You know what I mean? They're saying they're not going to, all right, little man, they're saying they're not going to get the season back on until, health-wise and everyone's healthy and, we're in a position to do that. So I'm cool with it coming back, to be honest, as long as, it's done in a safe way.
Fair enough. We've just got a super chat, Robbie. So 2Pixel2 has asked, at the beginning of the season, do you remember when you said to Drifty and Matt that your front 3 can rival ours? And he just asked the question, how's that gone? How's that gone, Robbie? How's that gone, Robbie?
You know what, Vic, I didn't actually, I did say it would rival it, but I didn't mean immediately. Obviously, guys like Pepe are going to have to settle in. But I thought, and this is one of the reasons why I feel this season has been particularly disappointing for Arsenal, because we actually had a better team than we did last year. You know what I mean? We brought in Pepe, and that did look like a very exciting front 3. Lacazette, Aubameyang, Pepe. You know what I mean? We brought in Kieran Tierney at the back. You're like, oh, that's looking exciting. You know what I mean? Around, and then Unai Emery doesn't play him. You know what I mean? It's like, what's going on? He didn't play Tierney to start off with. He wasn't playing Pepe, hardly ever playing Pepe. We never played that front. We're all like, wow, we're going to have a great front 3. It's going to be exciting. And they just never played them. So it's really weird. But yeah, that hasn't worked out. But I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic if Arteta can keep Aubameyang at the club. I'm optimistic that can still be an exciting front 3. It takes time. It's not an overnight thing. You know what I mean? You don't just, Dennis Bergkamp came to Arsenal. It took him a year. Henry, it took him a year. You know what I mean? Some players can hit the ground running like Aubameyang. There's other guys that need time to settle in, and I think that's Pepe.
Fair enough. And to be honest, Robbie, that was the next question I had. Aubameyang, he's the one really making the news out of the players in your team. Usually it's Ozil who captures all the headlines, but at the moment it's definitely Aubameyang and his contract situation. Will he stay? Will he go? Before I ask you, Robbie, I'm actually going to ask Matt and Drifty first from an outsider's perspective. Do you think Arsenal will actually benefit from losing Aubameyang, or do you see no benefit in them losing? So I'll come to you first, Matt.
With Aubameyang, I think at the moment he's Arsenal's most important player. You look at his stats, yeah? Since Aubameyang's been at Arsenal, I think he has 61 goals in 97 or 92 appearances or something like that. That's ridiculous. He's got 17 goals in the Premier League in 26 matches. I think he might even be joint top goal scorer along with Vardy, maybe. Like, the guy is a machine. And I think if Arsenal were to lose him, it'll be a massive blow. Now, as far as I'm aware, I think he's only got one more year left, Robbie? Is it when we
Yeah,
get
1
to
year.
the end of the season? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's 30 years old now as well. I think he's going to be 31 next month, I believe, as well, in June. I think Arsenal really have to try and keep him, at least tie him down for another 2-3 years, because I think you're going to find it very hard to replace a goal scorer like that. I think if Aubameyang leaves Arsenal, who's going to fill his boots? Like Lacazette, for me, has maybe gone off the boil a bit, hasn't really shone as much as he should. Pepe as well, I think, needs time to bed in. And at the moment, Aubameyang's the captain, so he's kind of like a figurehead for Arsenal. And let's be real, from an outsider's perspective, when you think about Arsenal, the first player that comes to mind is always Aubameyang, because you know he's a great goal scorer. He's a great player. He's a world-class striker. So I think if Arsenal were to lose him, it will be a massive blow, and hopefully they can keep hold of him.
Drifty, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I kind of echo what Matt said. I agree with everything. Arsenal can't afford to lose Aubameyang. This is a little bit like when we lost Suarez, although obviously we nearly won the league that season. But it's like sometimes the talisman going is too much for the team to cope with mentally, because you start thinking, oh, we're going backwards. So it's not necessarily just because that player is gone and his ability. Everyone else starts to think, you know what I mean? And Arsenal and Liverpool are very similar in terms of the way they run the club. Sell to buy, don't go over the top with their spending. Net spend is always very good because the clubs run sensibly. So whenever we used to lose top players, we'd always just hope the money went back in properly. With Aubameyang only having 1 year left, you're not even going to get enough money for it to be worth selling him. Like, let's be honest, even if you manage to get a team to pay 40, which he's obviously worth, but the 1 year contract would probably mean even 40 would be a hard sell. Do you know what I mean? Of like, well, we can just talk to him for free in 6 months' time. Why are we going to pay more than 40 mil? If Arsenal was to get 40 or less for Aubameyang, to get a guy who's guaranteed 20 to 30 goals a season somewhere in there, in all comps, how do you do that? Like, how do you do that? Like, let's be honest, there's some players in the squad that are good already, like Lacazette is good, but he's not a 20, 30 goal season, man. Martinelli, that's way too soon to know if he'll ever be anywhere near that level of consistency. And then after that, I don't think Arsenal have anyone in their team who's even got maybe 4 or 5 goals outside the front players, like midfield, anything. So who else is going to chip in and score goals if Aubameyang goes? So I'd actually lose Aubameyang for free to have 1 more year of planning if I was Arsenal, rather than get dibby money for him. And then what do you do with that money? Do you know what I mean? Like, honestly, 30, 40 mil to Arsenal, what do you go and do with that? There's nobody anywhere near Aubameyang's level that you could get for that money. So unless Kroenke is going to fling another 40, 50 mil on top and be like, Arteta, here, you can go get a 70, 80 million pound striker, which Aubameyang is. Like, if Aubameyang was 25 again, in today's market, you might have to pay 100 mil for him. Like, it's that real, isn't it? Like, that's Aubameyang's levels, 20, 30, 20, 30 every season. So how are you going to go and get 100 mil striker if your owner don't, and come on, is Kroenke going to put 60 mil on top of that 40? It don't look like it from what we've seen. So I'd let him ride it out and let him go for free, but at least we got a year to plan. Then get money that's not really going to get us anywhere and lose him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with that. And, you know, like you said, Aubameyang is a world-class striker. You know, since he's come in the club, I mean, I think when he joined that January, he got about 13, 14 goals then. Then in his next season, he won the Golden Boot. And then this season, he's actually just behind Vardy.
Okay, yeah.
But he again could win the Golden Boot again this season. Now, what more do you want from a striker? If it weren't for him, I don't know where we'd be this season. So, and I think there's even a bigger thing here for the owner. For me, if we don't manage to keep hold of Aubameyang this season, it sends a very bad signal. It sends a signal that this is a club that really does lack ambition. You know, that year in, year out, we've lost our best players. Van Persie, Nasri, Fabregas. You know what I mean? There's you know, Alexis Sanchez. There's just a long list of our, you know, as soon as players come to Arsenal, they're doing really well, they're peaking. Next minute, you know, they're gone, right? And a lot of times, even through our rivals, Oxlade-Chamberlain, who you guys have got, you know. So it sends to me a really, really bad signal if we're unable to hold on to Aubameyang. And if we do sell him, like you said, Drifty, you know, not only do you take into consideration the age and the fact that he's only got a year left, which will drive the price down, but you've also got to take into account the coronavirus as well. That's going to have a big factor on it as well, where the prices, people have not got that money right now to spend. I mean, that might be something that might help us in that he may not have as many options as he thinks, and he might end up staying. But certainly, if Arsenal are to progress, they've got to keep hold of Aubameyang. You know what I mean? This is one of the most annoying things as an Arsenal fan. We hear a lot of times people will be saying, "Oh, you lot like to moan." I think we've got a lot of reasons to moan. We do, you know, because it's things like this. You know, why should that even be? You know, and if we do sell him, then we should be replacing him with somebody of and like you said, to replace him, you're talking about, you know, it's very hard to replace natural goal scorers. Very, very hard to replace them because, you know, they're not in abundance. And like you said as well, also what you said, Drifty, which is, or I don't know if it was Matt, which is very true as well, is that if Aubameyang did win, then you didn't need goals to be chipped in from all around the pitch. And one of the big problems we've had this season is our midfield does not score any goals. The midfield return has been really, really poor. So we've been very reliant upon Aubameyang and the strikers, you know what I mean? Because the midfield hasn't chipped in with goals. So it's just the wrong time to be thinking about selling Aubameyang right now. He's the captain of the club. Arsenal need to be holding on to him for dear life, in my books, you know. And you know, he's a character. He's a fan favorite. It will send out a terrible signal if he's sold. That's, you know.
Robbie, can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Drew. Is there any sort of, would there not be a green sort of silver lining at the end of this potentially with? Because if you look at the way Liverpool set up, and I'm not going to compare your players to ours, but in terms of Firmino's the one who drops deep and Mane and Salah are the goal getters. So if Lacazette were to do that job, and let's say Pepe does kick into gear next season, you've still got the likes of Maitland-Niles, you've got Reece Nelson, Martinelli as well. Could they not kind of replicate Liverpool's system? Because at the moment, Aubameyang's having to play out on the left to accommodate Lacazette, which is not his strongest position, but because of the quality of his finishing, he still gets a lot of goals. Could that not be something you would potentially look at? Could that not help?
You know, but why? Yeah, it could do, but why go for option 2 if option 1's pretty good? You know what I mean? That should be another option that we have anyway. You know, and I just, to me, it just sends a really, really bad signal. You know, you guys wake up tomorrow and you hear that Salah's on his way out, you're going to be kicking up. If you hear that Mane's going, you know, I mean, I know Mane's been linked with moves.
Sorry, Robbie, we don't condone blasphemy like that on this channel.
So you see, and you've got 3 of them that are killing it up front. We got one guy, right, that's killing it there right now, right? And there's talk of him going. You know what I mean? It's very frustrating for us, you know what I mean? And it has to stop. You know what I mean? I think this is a big play here now, right? It has to. Arsenal fans are looking on this and they're thinking, this has to stop. We cannot keep selling our best players. So it's over to the owner of the club on what he's going to do. But I've got no real faith in him because they always seem to opt for the money. You know what I mean? They don't seem to. I think if you. I was giving an example last night when I was doing my show of Liverpool. I was saying that when we tried to get Suarez, Arsenal didn't actually do anything wrong with that. I know it looked bad and 40 million and £1 and everyone was laughing at it and that, but they didn't actually do anything wrong. They met the release clause, yeah? But what Liverpool did, which, you know, I respect what Liverpool done, because basically their owners just said, no, we are not selling you to Arsenal, not to a rival, right? And they even did a deal with him in it where they said you can stay on new contract and we'll send you abroad, but not. I respect that. If that would have been us, he would have been gone. We wouldn't even have put up a fight. And that is what's really annoying me right now about this club. This is a big-ass club, man. And sometimes the way in which we operate is just not as a big club. And that needs to be addressed. And it has to start with this one, with Aubameyang. I mean, listen, if he's insisting, if Aubameyang insists he wants to leave, what can we do? You know, as long as it's not another English club, I suppose they're going to have to take the money for him. But then they have to bring in a name that people then think, well, okay, he's gone, but we got this person. But if not, and he just goes out, and then we don't see, it's not going to be, it's not going to be pretty down there at the Emirates. You know what I mean? Because I'll tell you, people are very angry about this already.
Fair enough. Well, Robbie, just got a couple of super chats. I'll be honest, the people are coming for you this evening. That's nothing to do. You know we love you, but the people are coming to you.
I can tell you already, right? Even before you say it, right? Like I made a comment the other day. We were talking about the size of Liverpool and Arsenal, and I got on my channel. I got hammered by Liverpool fans. They came for me.
That's the question. That's the question. Mr. A has asked, does Robbie really think Arsenal are a bigger club than Liverpool?
Right. This is what
Robbie.
No, so
surely not, Rob.
No, come on. What I said, right? This is what I said. At the now, all right. If you break it into sort of 3 segments, yeah. When I was a kid, when I was younger, Liverpool was the biggest club in the country. Liverpool were the biggest, yeah. Then Man United became the biggest, and then when we had our rivalry, sort of Man United, Arsenal for all those years, it then became Man United the biggest, then Arsenal, then I thought then Liverpool, but just it weren't a lot in it. And then in recent times now, obviously over the last few years, now I'd say it's Man United, Liverpool, then us just behind. But I was saying on the show that we are still a huge, huge club. I travel and go everywhere around the world with Arsenal, and there's many places you go. So I'd say, for instance, if you went to America, I'd say Arsenal's bigger than Liverpool in America. But then if you went to Australia, Liverpool would be bigger than Arsenal in Australia. So if you round it up, like I'd say now with the obviously with the trophies you've won in recent times, with the fact that you've got these great exciting players at the moment, yes, I'd say Liverpool are biggest. United are still the biggest, to be honest. You know, if you go around the world, they are still the biggest. If you look at it as on a worldwide thing, it'd be Liverpool would probably be second and Arsenal will be third. But that's what annoys the life out of me, because if we were operating in a different manner, I don't know. I reckon we could possibly be bigger than Liverpool, because we're based in London. That kind of gives us a little extra sometimes. But yeah, I'd have to admit now that Liverpool have now regained that second spot. But I don't think I was being unreasonable when I said that the other day. But when I was trying to explain it, immediately I was attacked from all fronts of Liverpool fans. You know what I mean?
You know what it is.
I think the way you go on, Drift.
No, you know what it is. In terms of a fan base, Arsenal's fan base is huge, and you are right. I think you probably are either level or just behind in terms of worldwide fan. Like Arsenal was a massive club. I didn't actually realize how worldwide Arsenal was fan base wise until some of my friends pointed it out. So you're right in terms of that, but I think the conversation of who's the bigger club, you always have to involve history as well as fan base. That's a conversation where you get a bit statistical. It's not so much like players. And I think that's where there isn't the comparison, because obviously, Arsenal do have a lot of history, but Liverpool's history is unfounded. Like, we've got the most European titles out of any English club. We've got more leagues than anyone except Man United. They've only got one more than us now. We're catching up.
Hold on, wait a minute. Premier League.
Ah, come on. Moving the goalposts, bro.
The competition, you know.
Hey, you know
winning the league is winning the league, bro.
Funny
you know what I mean?
This is
you know what I mean? So I think that's where we're the biggest club in England, full stop, if you put everything into consideration. We've got the most trophies, and Man U's just above us for fan base. So you put it all together, I'll say Liverpool are the biggest club in the country. Not in a biased way, but
Yeah, it depends what, like you said, it depends what your thing of biggest club is. If you're talking trophies, yeah, it's Liverpool, right? If you're talking like everything, and that's what I think it should be. It should be like everything. So that's trophies, size of fan base, size of stadium, size of all that. I think you would have to say, unfortunately, is United, right? And then probably you guys would be second, and I'd say we're third. But we've slipped. That's the annoying thing, and a bit like how you guys have had to endure it over the years in recent times, in that you have this rich history and you've done all these great things, but you haven't done nothing for a long time. That's what we're going through now. I had a guy on the show last night with a comment, and he said, "I'm 17." He said, right, and he goes, not last night, the night before. He goes, "I'm 17," and he goes, "And I haven't seen Arsenal win the title. I've just seen," and I was thinking, shit, that's true. A 17-year-old would not have seen Arsenal win the title. It's mad. I'm like, no, this is not good enough, man. I mean, it's not good enough for a club of Arsenal's size, for a kid of 17. But then I guess it's been the same with you guys. You've had to wait a very long time to be able to win. You know, you're going to win it. You'd have to wait. You've waited a very, very long time to be able to achieve that. And as I said, I remember Liverpool as a kid. They were the biggest club. There was no doubt, right? So it just goes to show, and I think it's a lesson that we need to learn very quick at Arsenal, that if you don't get your act together, you can slip from being that all-conquering club to just being like, every time you're talking to somebody, they're just like, yeah, boy, memories. That's what we're starting to sound like that now. How we used to accuse Liverpool, and we always used to say that you and your fans, every time we talk to you guys, it's memory lane. That's Arsenal now. I had Coogan on my show last night. We said the same thing. That's us. Every time we're talking Invincibles, we're celebrating because you guys didn't break that record, because that's about the only thing we've got right now. So that needs to change for us. You know what I mean? I want to see a change in that. I want to see a change in the mentality of the club, but it starts from the very top of the owner, and I'm not convinced with him. I'm not his biggest fan, I'll be honest with you.
It's mad because we always used to get that bombardment of your history. Like you said, all you don't talk about is history. Liverpool ain't won the league for 23 years, 24, 25. It was just adding up. And I've said to everyone, I know 29 years is a long time, but it can happen very easily. And if you look at the situation of Man U now, this is going into the 8th year, no league. Arsenal going into the 17th year, no league. You start looking at it like, it's very easy for them years to start adding up. So when everyone used to always jump on our back, it's like, it can just happen before you know it. It's just how it goes.
Do you know what I think it is, Drifty? Yeah, I look on it. I've tried to do a little study of these things the other day, right? And the common denominator is when a club is poorly run. It no matter how much money you throw at it. Look at United. They throw money. They bought Pogba. They bought this, that. They still ain't won nothing, like you said, since Fergie's gone. You know why? Because they're poorly organised club. They're trying to get it together now, but they've been poorly run. Same with us. Poorly run. As I said, every year selling our best players on ridiculous contracts that don't deserve it. Not, you know what I mean, just run poorly, right? Same with you guys, up until when the new owners come in and Klopp, those other American guys you had, they nearly run the thing into the ground, right?
Yeah, cowboy.
You had times at Liverpool where you had good teams and you were spending money and stuff, but again, if it ain't run right, so then you look at the clubs that are run well. So at the moment, you guys are run well, got a good team and run well, doing well. Manchester City, I know they've been obviously loads of money at it, but they run very well. And then you look at all the other clubs around Europe that are run well. They're always there. They're always winning. So if it's not right, I don't care how much money you throw at it. If it's not run, look at Chelsea. They throw a lot of money at Chelsea, but a lot of times they're up, they're down, they're up, they're down, because it's not always run very well. There's not a plan in place to succeed, and I think that's we right now are going through that in a big way. There's not a plan. There's not a winning plan in place. It's just I don't know what our plan is. The plan for over many years has just been to get into the top 4. And then, yeah, I mean, we don't want top 4. I want to be challenging to win the league. Another club that's run very well. That it's no mistake. It's no fluke why they're doing well. Is Leicester. They run well. Wolves are run. Wolves are run very well. From the manager to the owners to the players they buy that suit the system that the manager wants. Same with Leicester. They base it off of young players, suits the system. They went and got Brendan Rodgers because they knew that he could work with those type of players. They had that PUL, remember? And they were like, we're trying to build a young, exciting team here. Now you're pissing off all the players with this defensive thing. And man, we're going to get rid of you. And we're going to go and get Brendan Rodgers because we know that he can work with young players. He's got a proven record. He gets the best out of them, exciting. So those clubs, there's no fluke why they're doing well. They run well. But we're not run well. Well, we haven't been run well. I'm optimistic now that Arteta's coming. That hopefully, that might change the mentality and, But if it's not run well in that, it's going to flop. And that's why it's been so long that you guys took to win it. United, that's why look how much money United spent, man. Look at Alexis Sanchez's wages and that. And I remember at the time when they bought Alexis, saying to my Man United mate, I go, why are you buying him for? That's just a vanity thing. You don't need Alexis. I go, Alexis, I can tell you from when he plays at Arsenal, he's not going to really. You've already got Martial on the left-hand side. He's kicking up, doing brilliantly. That season when they brought him in. You're just going to pick him off. Alexis ain't coming there to go on the bench. And that's exactly what happened. He come there, didn't do well. They dropped Martial out. I mean, there's no fault in that, no fault in that. So it's all about planning, execution, and everybody moving to, it together. I think at the moment, Liverpool have got the perfect storm of that. All the fans are behind Klopp. The owners are behind Klopp. The players are behind Klopp. That's why you're winning.
Fair enough. So, Robbie, just got a quick super chat. So, Promo has said, imagine Origi replaces Aubameyang at Arsenal. Would you be happy with something like that happening?
You're taking a piss now, you know what I mean?
It wasn't like,
whoa.
Don't get me wrong.
Origi's a bad man, Rob.
Hold on. Don't get me wrong. Origi's all right. He's scored some big goals, right? But he's not Aubameyang. He's not a natural goal scorer. He's not a guy who's
he's going
to get. I've got to agree with Robbie here.
Origi.
If he's given the chance to play a 38-game season as a leading striker, he can get you 20 goals, guaranteed.
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think he's.
I think you're sleeping on Origi, You're sleeping on him because I get what you're saying, Rob. He's not obviously of the caliber, nowhere near Aubameyang. But what Liverpool fans do know is that he's never played a 38-game calendar. But this guy's clutch, Robert. He scores important big goals. Like, it might sound crazy, like, from your perspective. You're thinking, that's Aubameyang. Like, Aubameyang has got us 60 goals, yeah? But don't sleep on Origi, brother. I'm telling you, do not sleep on him.
You had me on the size of the team, right? Look where Liverpool's size are bigger than us. You're going to tell me, right? If you man are telling me that Origi, you're comparing him to Aubameyang, Bridging, I don't know what you
I'm not.
No.
We're not comparing. No,
Rob, this is the thing. It's not a comparison. It's not a comparison, but what I'm saying is, if you got Origi to replace Aubameyang and play through Origi, he'd score the goals you think you're going to miss. I'm telling you.
He scored the same.
Origi, let me say, Origi's got 33 goals at Liverpool in 70-something appearances. And we're talking coming off the bench for most of them and never being allowed to get consistency. That's like, what, a goal, 1 in every 3 games? The man's never even been loved in that way by any manager. And he's got a 1 in 3 ratio. I'm telling you, Origi is the man.
Why aren't there loads of clubs coming in for him? Why is he?
Because they don't understand.
If that's the
case, don't get it.
Nobody gets it. None of the scouts watching. No one.
No.
Only you 3. Right?
Not me. Not me.
No. To be fair,
I'm not saying that.
No, there's no comparison. This is the thing. No. There's no comparison. There's no comparison. But I have to agree with Drift. Yeah. When you look at Origi's record in and you think about it, he doesn't start games. He comes off the bench and he doesn't even play like back-to-back games. Yeah, this guy just comes on and does his thing. I'm telling you from now, in the Arsenal setup, as Drift said, if you play through him, I'm not trying to say he's going to get the same amount of Aubameyang's goals. I don't think he would, no. But I think you wouldn't be surprised if he bags 20 though, Rob. I'm telling you, he's got it in him.
It's all right.
All right.
It's all right, mate. Yeah, I mean, you guys. Listen, he's scored some very important goals, and when he plays, he does look a threat. He's quick, he's strong. You know what I mean? But I don't think he's that clinical striker. I just don't. When I've seen him play, I mean, if he's through on goal, when Aubameyang's through on goal, I'm like 90% sure he's going to score if he's a one-on-one.
I hear that.
If Origi's through, it's probably 50-50 for me. So he's not in that clinical. He's
bit harsh there, Rob.
Rob, do you want to know something? I'd arguably say Origi's actually probably more clinical than Lacazette, you know?
Oh, yeah, of course.
He probably is more clinical.
Lacazette's not had a great season this year. But remember, last year, he was playing really well. He was our player of the season. You know, so, no, man, Origi's not, sorry, man, no.
Origi's clutch, Rob. No. Origi's clutch, I'm telling you.
Listen,
big player.
Don't get me wrong, I don't dislike him. I think he's a decent player. But when you're talking about up on the levels, you're talking to replace Aubameyang. I mean, that's coming like, I sell a Benz and I go and buy I don't know, a Ford Mondeo or something. Nah, man, come on, man. That's not in the same levels, bro.
Right, disrespect, you know.
Okay. Robbie. So, Robbie, we got another super chat.
Maybe not. Maybe
not. Another super chat where you've been asked, Aubameyang, he does miss a lot of chances, offers nothing else apart from goal scoring. Do you agree with that?
Aubameyang is an out-and-out striker, and he's not your guy that's going to hold it up, and so he's not that player. He's a player that I don't agree that he misses a lot of chances. He's clinical. Every striker misses a lot of chances, right? But look at the stats, and it's not just at Arsenal. It's at every single club that guy's been at. He's had seasons he scored 30, 40 goals, things like that. He's clinical. So yes, he's not your, and that's probably where somebody like Origi would be. I haven't really seen that side of Origi, but that's probably where he would be better, like holding the ball up, bringing other people in. Maybe be better at that. But when you get the ball in that area, he will. And for me, a striker is about goals. You don't come to the end of the season and say, "Oh yeah, Origi held it up 20 times." You know what I mean? You want to hear about how many goals he scored, right? So for me, Aubameyang every time, man. You know what I mean? That's why we're so pissed off at the moment that we could possibly lose it, because we've got because you've got certain strikers, right? That's what they do. They score. Vardy, he scores goals. When you start messing around with him, man, and like what Puel was doing with Vardy, we're trying to get him to play all these different things and drop back to do this and hope. I mean, their man, they just want the ball in a certain place. Bang, give me it and I'll score. And Aubameyang's like one of them, man. Just give me the ball in that area and I'll bury it. And for me, what do you want a striker to do? Score a goal.
That's fair enough. So on the subject of your squad, Robbie, and you've alluded to this about the plan before was to get into the top four. You've never really been in title contention for the last probably decade or a bit more. What would you think is a plan of action now? What will it take for Arsenal to be contenders again?
Well, first of all, a plan. So the plan has to be, first of all, there's a lot of players in that team that we need to move them on. They've been there a long time. They haven't done it, right? They've had a fair crack at the whip. And now it's about moving those players on. But it's very difficult to move some of them on because they're on very high wages. So other clubs are not going to come and take them. They don't really command big transfer fees. You've got guys like Ozil that are on huge wages of £350,000 a week. but he will not leave. And I don't blame him, because if I was on that, I wouldn't leave either. So he's not going to leave until his contract runs out, which is at the end of next season. And there's about 3-4 of those type of players, like him, Mustafi, these guys where they're on big wages. You know, I mean, Mustafi's on over 90 grand a week, which is probably more than what a lot of Liverpool players are. Yeah. That's the mismanagement of Arsenal. Mustafi is on over 90 grand a week.
90, Robbie.
90. Kolasinac is 100 grand a week. You know, so the wages, and these are all historical contracts that were there from when Arsene Wenger was there. And this has been the big problem. So when you see Tom, a lot of times you'll see players, and you'll have fans saying, "Oh, just get him out, move." They don't understand how this thing works. If you've got a player like Mustafi that's on 90 grand a week, why would you move? You know what I mean? Why would you move to another club that's going to say, "Well, hold on, you're not worth nowhere near that. We'll give you 40 grand." You'd be stupid. So we got to wait until a lot of those players, when their contracts expire, which a lot of them are going to be those very high earners, are going to be next. As I said, Ozil's on 350 grand a week, and he's not going nowhere. So he's next year when that contract runs out. So the plan for me with Arteta is, at the moment, get the best out of what you've got with these players. Start bringing in younger players, which they've started doing. I mean, I think so far, I'm looking at some of the signings they've made, and I'm like, they're decent signings. But until they kind of move those guys, some of those deadwood guys on, they're not going to be able to get in place the team that Arteta wants. We see how he wants to play. He wants to play in a very dynamic way. So I think get the best out of what you got next season now, when those guys have moved on. Hopefully now, then you start really erecting your team that you want to make a challenge on the title. So I don't think Arsenal will be up there challenging for at least a couple of seasons, because there's a lot of rebuilding and a lot of reshaping to be done on the team.
All right. So on that premise, then, Robbie, if I said to you right now, right, realistically, 3 players that you could sign that could potentially shore up your team, who would they be right now?
Well, I think we need
3 positions. I say 3 positions.
3 positions. I think we definitely could do with a commanding centre back. I mean, you've seen at Liverpool what Van Dijk has done for you guys. We brought in this guy Saliba, but he's very young. But we need somebody. If we can find somebody, if there's another Van Dijk somewhere, right? Somebody of that ilk. We need.
We've got him, bro. Gomez.
Huh? Gomez. Yeah, but you never. Yeah, I mean, somebody is available. But we need.
You can take Lovren, fam.
Yeah, Lovren's available.
You told me Origi's thing. Now probably you're going to tell me Lovren's the best. But for me, yeah, a commanding centre back, a leader. We lack that badly. I think we could do with a creative, somebody to replace Ozil. You know, I mean, I saw that Kai Havertz playing the other night at Leverkusen. Somebody of that ilk, someone who's like young, but also like, you know, going to be really emerged to be a real top player in that position. And I think also we could do in possibly a defensive midfielder still as well. I mean, there's a lot of rumours that Torreira might go. We've been linked a lot with Thomas Partey, somebody who's strong in that midfield area. We need to strengthen up the spine of Arsenal's team. Then after that, I do think we've got some good players. You know, I mean, if we kept Aubameyang, you've got Lacazette still there. You've got Pepe, who I think is going to get better. I really do think he's going to have a good season next year. You've got some good young players in Saka, in Martinelli, you know, in Tierney. You know what I mean? So there's some good players there that, you know, if they're molded right, that, you know, we can have a good team, but got to shift out some of those. There's players in that team that are just treading water in my books, man. They're just like, you know, they know that that's not what Arteta wants. They know that, but why would you leave when you're on them big monies? They're on some, honestly, I would like to see a comparison of like our wage bill in comparison to, say, Liverpool's, because I bet you'd be surprised. There's a lot of mediocre players at Arsenal that are probably earning more than players at Liverpool. And that's where we've gone wrong badly.
Yeah, sounds like it. I mean, Drift, and I'll come to you after, Matt. Again, we're not Arsenal fans, so we don't monitor them as closely as Robbie and the rest of the guys at Aftv. From the outside looking in, which 3 positions would you say Arsenal need to address as a matter of urgency?
As a matter of urgency, it's probably a bit different to who you actually need to address, if that makes sense. I know some Arsenal fans are happy with Leno, but he reminds me of Mignolet. Great one day, poor another.
No.
He's better. He's better than Mignolet.
He's better.
No,
Leno's way better than thing.
No, he's better than Mignolet, but he still has those games though. Like he'll still have them games. Like you if you want to be the best, you need David De Gea. You need Oblak, Alisson. You can't have a goalie who has them days. You can't. And
Leno is a top goalie. Leno's a top goalie. He's been very good for them. If it wasn't for him this season, they might be in relegation.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
he's trust me, Drifty. You speak to Arsenal fans. Yeah, who go week in, week out. If you was to survey 10 of them, 9 of them would be happy with Leno. He's been good. Yeah, I mean, I know there's been a couple of high-profile mistakes he's made, but he's been good. The only thing I fought him for really is that I want to see him. He can be a bit lackadaisical when he's playing the ball out from the back. He's a bit, his distribution could be a bit better, but everything else, I've been happy with him. So, he's not million.
That's the thing.
First, it was you who said about Origi. Now you're coming back.
No, Leno doesn't need to go urgently. I'm just saying you have to have. I've realized now, after having Alisson, watching Oblak in that game, in the Atletico game, seeing what certain goalies have done. De Gea for the last 7 years. I know recently not, but that 7 years of I've just realised there's levels to keepers now, and I don't want any of them. Lloris, middle level. I don't want any more of them. You know what I mean?
He's not middle level. He's been one of the best keepers in the Premier League this season. I don't know, man. I am happy with Leno. You know what I mean? He's quality and he's going to get better. I still think there's a lot more to come from him. You're not talking about somebody who's going to get worse. You're talking about someone who's going to get better. So I agree with you on that one, to be honest.
Fair dues. The attack fine. If Aubameyang stays, there's nothing wrong with the attack. The midfield, maybe it would be important to get a creative midfielder because Ozil, I'd give up on him, especially with the money that he's paid. So maybe someone who's creative. For me, it's the back 4, I think I don't even know if many, I don't know, Rob, I don't know if any Arsenal fans will argue it. It's the back 4. I think if the whole back 4 changed, Arsenal would just be a different team. Do you know what I mean? And that's not to say some players like Bellerin can't have good games. But for me, I wouldn't rely on hoping he's a 38 game a season good game right back. I'd be like, if we can improve on him. He's injured a lot and he's not consistent. Then you've got some of the centre backs where they're not bad centre backs. Do you know what I mean? But like Socrates isn't a bad centre back. But if you want to win the league, Socrates has to be 3rd or 4th choice. He can't be 1 or 2.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. It's like what you said there is absolutely spot on. We've got a lot of players like that. They're not bad. You know what I mean? You look at him and you say, like you said, Socrates is not a bad centre back. But as you said, what do you want? This is when I start to question ambitions, because to me, I look on it and I was like, if I want to win the league, not bad is not going to make me win the league. I need banging. And so that's what the problem is at Arsenal. We've got a lot of players in that team that are not bad. The majority of them. Mustafi's not bad. Yeah, I mean, since Arteta's come in, he's probably been the best centre back. He's played well, but you always know that he's liable to make some little mistake. Or that he's got it in him. He's going to go to ground. If it's not this game, it's coming up in the next one or the one you need. If you're going to win it, you need a level of consistency, and that only comes through having like great young players and top players in that team. And I just think about the best days of Arsenal. We were solid at the back, and I just, like you said, not bad is not going to cut it no more, especially when you've got so many good teams around. I mean, the quality of players at even the smallest team has gone up. So, and that's without Newcastle now coming on the scene. They're going to be spending big. Everton are spending big. You know what I mean? So not bad's not going to cut it.
Yeah, if you want to challenge and you want to be up there, you have to have at least one elite centre back. And obviously, I know we've argued over what you would call elite. It doesn't need to necessarily be world class, but Soyuncu at Leicester, Maguire's obviously gone to Man United. Like, he's still like top level centre back that brings up the rest of the defence and brings them to a level. And I think Arsenal need to go and get themselves one of them guys.
Yeah, you're right. 100%. You know, I mean, you see, like you said, Laporte at City. You know, every one of those clubs seem to have that, like you said, that top level. We don't have that. Like you said, we've got a lot of players that they're all right.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you're playing Saka at left back. He's done well, but he's a winger. He's not even a defender. It's like, why have Arsenal not got one of the best left backs in the league?
Yeah, we've got to be fair. They brought Tierney in, and there's a
I forgot about him.
Yeah, little glimpses of, but the guy's literally been injured the whole season, so we've not really seen anything of him. Which has been a shame. You know what I mean? So, but then you've got Kolasinac, who's all right again, like you said, another all right guy. You know, and you need more than all right.
Yeah. So I mean, Robbie. Sorry, Drift. Let me just get to some of these super chats. So, I think you've kind of answered this already, Robbie. But Mr. Ray's asked. Sorry, Mr. Ray as well. I feel like I'm at school when I say his name. Is it a different name now, Mr. A? All right, fair enough. Where does Robbie stand on the Ozil debate? As a Liverpool fan, I think he's way past it. I think you've kind of answered this already, Robbie. But is there anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, listen, it's time to move on from Ozil. You know what I mean? I just feel that he's been a good player over the years. I give him probably like a 7 out of 10, but I'm still disappointed with that because I think he should have been a 9 out of 10 with the amount of ability and quality that he has. But he just seems to be a player sometimes that very easily slips into a comfort zone, in my opinion. And, you know, he's time to move on from Ozil. We need somebody younger. We need somebody who's going to score more goals. And, you know, it's time to another chapter.
Fair enough. And just one more super chat. So Fan Chat TV has asked, question for everyone. Do you think that the resting period will cause the top teams to refine their form?
Possibly.
Yeah,
possibly.
Majority, yeah, I think so.
Tottenham didn't even have a squad before the thing went down. You know what I mean? So look how much better, how much harder it's going to be to play Tottenham. Now, I'm glad we got Tottenham out of the way.
It's going to be interesting because what is the no fans thing going to do to performance? Is that going to be a disadvantage to the smaller teams? Because a lot of times, say for instance, when you go to their grounds, they've got big crowds behind them, really giving them an extra 10%. Or is it going to mean, which I kind of think that what might happen is those better teams might be even better because they just got better quality anyway. So they don't, you know, now that they're going to a smaller team and there's no crowd there, that might give the bigger teams an advantage. That might make a Liverpool better because they've got better players and play in a better way. And now you ain't even got the crowd to help you. You know what I mean? You're on your own, you know? So I think the clubs are like, you know, you guys, City and that, I think it will make them better. It's you know, and also fitness is going to be whoever's fit comes back the fittest is going to do well because, you know, it's been a long layoff for players. You know what I mean? And not every player, as we can see from a few of our players, not all of them seem to have been disciplined throughout the break. You know what I mean? And there's been several players you know, that we're just looking at the ones that have been caught out, but it's how disciplined they've been since they've been away. So it's going to be a lot of factors, but I think it's going to be interesting to see how teams react to the, you know, I mean, Anfield with no fans in there. If you're going there as an away team now, all of a sudden maybe it's not as hostile as going to face Liverpool now. You're like, yeah, I ain't got to worry about, you know, their crowds getting them a VAR decision or something like that, you know.
Cool.
You know what? I think it's literally going to be the away team will benefit. I think it's as simple as whoever the away team is will benefit. Whether it's the big team or the small team, I just think the home team not having an advantage now just always benefits the away team, whichever way you look at it.
Yeah, because definitely, you know, you don't want to. I'd much rather go and play Liverpool now at Anfield than, you know, under normal circumstances. You know, I mean, so that's going to be an interesting thing for me to see how that works, how that pans out. You know, I mean, how much is that? I mean, we've got to have fans back as quickly as we can, man, because the behind closed doors thing. But it's better than nothing.
Fair enough. So, Robbie, obviously, we're going to let you go soon, and we do appreciate you coming on. But before you go, just wanted to ask you one question. It doesn't have to be a long answer, and I'm going to ask the guys this as well. What has been your favourite Arsenal victory over Liverpool?
It's got to be the '89 one. We had Mickey Thomas.
I thought you'd say that.
We had Mickey Thomas on our channel the other day, you know, and obviously he played for you guys as well, you know, and I think he was again breaking down that night, right? And he was saying that, listen, he goes, when people talk about, you know, underdog, he goes, when we went there to Liverpool at that time, that was the Liverpool, the all-conquering John Barnes, all them sort of players. And Arsenal needed to win the game, final game of the season, by 2 clear goals to win the league. And Liverpool hadn't lost by 2 clear goals at Anfield for 4 years. And so, like, everybody wrote Arsenal, they've got no chance. You're not going to go. And plus as well, Arsenal, because that season, Arsenal was sort of bottling it because they were ahead and then they'd like lost a load of games and drawn a load of games. And Liverpool had moved ahead of them. So again, we was on a poor run. So it was completely unexpected. So I think that that's definitely our greatest ever victory over Liverpool. And, you know, they've even made, you know, they even had the documentary about it again the other day. And, you know, actually, Michael Thomas said when we had him on, he goes, Alex Ferguson said that he caused the decline of Liverpool, you know, because it was after that you went this long period in the league. But Michael Thomas said, actually, no. He goes, Arsenal caused the decline. Because he said, first of all, there was that in '89, and then he said, then the season after we won the league again. And he goes, it was after that, Liverpool never won the league since, up until probably what's going to happen this year. So it was actually that Arsenal team there that put a real dent into Liverpool's superiority, because at that time, you know, Liverpool were all conquering, man. Barnes, and that's probably how you lot started supporting it, Barnes.
Yeah,
of course.
Barnes and them, man. You know, they were a wicked team them time, man. Barnes and Grobler in goal, and that was an incredible Liverpool team. So yeah, that's definitely, you know, in recent times we ain't had any, have we? You know what I mean?
Few and far between.
Oh, in recent times, man, we just think it's slapped up by Liverpool, man. Even with the kids. That's the one that did my head in, man. With the kids. And that was actually that's probably one of the most exciting games I went to this season, because number one, I went there, my expectations for that game weren't that high. And it was such a great end-to-end game. Was it 4-3? I can't remember the exact score.
It was
5-4.
Was it 5-4?
Yeah, 5-4. Sorry, 5-4. Yeah.
5-4. Yeah.
It's Origi, isn't it? Origi scored in that game.
Yeah.
I told you, bro.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I'm telling you, I can't believe. You know what? Serious though, you've got, just before I go here, you've still got time to redeem yourself and say that you were only messing around when you said that.
I didn't say it. I never said that.
These two, because I'm gonna.
No, listen.
You know.
Origi's not as good. Origi is not as good as Aubameyang. Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you're gonna lose a player like Aubameyang and need a good replacement, Origi could be a good replacement. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's better than Aubameyang.
You know what?
Look at the 2 goals he scored in that game, Rob. The boy is he's better than people realize. I'm telling you.
Robbie. Let me clarify something. All right. I'm not sitting here 1 second saying Origi is even close to Aubameyang's level. He's not. We know that. I'm a football man. He's not. But one thing I will say, though, is that in this current climate, with obviously everything happening now, let's just say, for example, Aubameyang does leave and the owners don't really want to spend, I don't know, 60, 70 million on a world-class striker, yeah? I'm putting it up in the air. Say Origi is available for 25 to 30 mil. If you look at it in comparison, like a 25, 30 million striker that could potentially get you 20 goals a season, that's not that bad. But obviously, if you can go higher, you will go higher. Because obviously, I know Origi's not world class. I know that. But
20 goals.
I'm just saying he has the capability to do it, bro.
When you said you said he was going to clarify things, I thought he was going to say, just to clarify, I've been running a thing. I was running a little thing before I come on here, so I had a couple to drink before I come on here. So that's why I said that. Just to clarify that.
Rob,
right?
Rob,
come on, man. You cannot talk about Origi in the same conversation as Aubameyang. Come on.
But Rob, you're not hearing. No, but Rob, you're not hearing me. Listen, all right, let me ask you this now, yeah. Realistically, now, let's say you go into the transfer market and you need to replace Aubameyang. We both know Arsenal most likely are not going to spend probably 60 million, 50 million on a striker. Now, let's just say you've only got, like, realistically 30 million. Origi kind of does go into that category. So it's kind of like going with what you have. Because if you can sit here and tell me Arsenal are going to spend 60 million, 70 million on a striker, then yeah, 100%. But if you've got to go that lower category, and Origi is obviously lower category, would you not at least say he's a good bargain for that amount of money? That's my argument.
I'd rather, and this is no disrespect to Origi, I'd rather keep my money right, and then promote Martinelli. The Martinelli is quality, right? And even your manager said, remember, even Klopp,
yeah.
And Martinelli to me could be the next big thing. So I'd rather promote him. Origi, don't get me wrong, and I'm not dissing him, right? He scored some big goals for you guys. He's a good player. I think he is probably better than what, I was saying the other day to somebody else going, that Ronaldo who plays in midfield, underrated. Those men, them type of guys, they don't really stand out in your team sometimes. But I can see, when I see them man play, when we played him, I'm like, he's, in another team, everybody be raving over him, right? Origi probably in another team, he went to Norwich or something like that, man, I might be raving. But listen, I'm telling you, you cannot be talking about Origi as a replacement for Aubameyang. No chance. No chance. That's not, no. He's not clinical.
Robbie, before you go, you do realise you spent all your money on Pepe, all the installments, bro.
Well, that's it. We got, but I think Pepe, Pepe's going to come good.
I think he will as well.
It's his first season, and even in his first season, it's funny enough, right? We've been linked to a lot of players recently, and some of the players that we've been linked to, and I've heard Arsenal fans say, "No, you know what? We should get him." And then I look at their record. I'm like, Pepe scored more goals than him this season. What I mean? It's Pepe, and I thought Pepe. We didn't treat him good at the start of the. I didn't know what Emery was doing with it, Pepe. He didn't want to play him. There's one game that Pepe scored 2 goals in the game, came on, saved Emery's ass. We was playing in the Europa League. We were losing, come on, scored 2 goals back to back, right? Won us the game. And then the next game now, we're all thinking, yeah, man, Pepe's big things now. The man's not even on the bench. We're like, what's going on? They asked Emery, they said, what's happened to Pepe? He goes, oh, no, tactically, I think this man, that's when I knew he was going to get sacked. Because when I started to see those things, I was like, you know what? It's almost like he wants to get sacked. Pepe, I really, I really want to see him next season when he's settled down a bit. I think he's found. It's like Pepe sometimes. He'll pick the ball up, he'll beat 3 men, and it's like he comes back to beat them again. You know what I mean? He needs to. Yeah, he needs to sort of learn the Premier League a bit more. But, I think, potentially he can be a very, very good player for Arsenal. But we've got to keep Aubameyang, man. Pepe,
no, you have to.
Pepe Origi combination is not the same as Pepe Aubameyang. You know what I mean?
All right, Robbie, before you go, let me quickly say this here, because I didn't get a chance to say the 3 players who I think could do you lot some justice, yeah?
Yeah.
I reckon if you're Arsenal, you try and get Pereira from Leicester for right back. I think he's a very, very good right back.
Brilliant player. Brilliant.
You're talking about a leading centre back this is a bit of a it'll be a bit of a task, but maybe try and go and get Koulibaly.
Yeah.
He's on the market. You know how much he's going to cost, but he's a leading top quality centre back. And I think another guy you could potentially go for is Thomas Partey. I think those three immediately enhance your spine immediately. And that's
man, if you say Koulibaly, bro, you taking the piss.
No, he's Drifty.
But I'm saying, I know they won't get him, but someone like him would immediately make their defense way better. Imagine
Drifty, all three players that Matt said there, he's spot on, yeah? And then look at your response. Are you taking the piss? Right? And
Koulibaly's like...
Wait a minute. I'm not dissing you for saying that, because that is the reaction when Arsenal get linked to the... And it shouldn't be like that. And that's that's what I say to our owners of our club. Yo, why are we not playing Koulibaly? The only reason we should not be able to get a player like that is if he turns around and says, well, you know what? I want Champions League football. You lot are not in it at the moment. But money to get Koulibaly shouldn't be a problem. Wages shouldn't be a problem. We're a big club, man. We need to start operating it like that. So you're right. If you bought those three players immediately with the players we've got, you'd be like, hey, upper grade now. But the way we'd be shopping at the Lidl's and them shop there, we'd be shopping at instead of shopping at the big shops there. So
But that's what I'm saying. Koulibaly's like, what, 100 mil? Like, Arsenal ain't spending no.
No, he won't cost that much.
Probably
I reckon.
About
sorry, Robbie.
70, 80 million.
But I reckon
would Arsenal even pay that for a centre back though?
No. You could probably get Koulibaly for I'd say about 50, 60 mil, you know?
No
50,
way.
60.
No way.
You got to think
29.
about the market. You have to think about the market.
The market as well, bro. He's 29 years old.
Koulibaly's not going for less than 70. No way.
No, he is. I guarantee you. I bet he is.
Even if he's 70, right? We should be able to we should be in the conversation at least when it comes to them sort of players, right? And the thing that annoys me as an Arsenal fan is that the reaction is and a quite justified reaction is like what you just said. Are you taking the piss? Well, Arsenal. And it shouldn't be like that. We should be in the conversation for them big boys as well. Whether they come or not is a different argument. But when those players are being linked, they should be linked with Arsenal. But we are not behaving at the moment in the right manner. And that's why if I'm an ambitious owner, I'd be saying the same as Matt. I'd be like, those three players, you're right, would instantly fix major problems at Arsenal and make us a completely different team.
Yeah. Well, time will tell. I got to be honest, Robbie. I'm not going to say this behind your back. I hope you don't get those players because I quite enjoy seeing Arsenal where they are right now.
You guys were there for a long time, man. You know what I mean? You were in the same position that we are in for a very long time, and you've come out of it. So there's hope that we can come out of it as well. You know what I mean? We've got to, in a way, we've got to kind of follow your lead because, like Drifty said earlier, we sort of do operate a similar model to what you guys do. So we need to try and follow your lead and how you guys have done things because you've obviously done a lot right to try and get back to where we need to be.
Indeed. But Robbie, we'll let you go now. Obviously, we kept you a bit longer than we said we would. But no, really do appreciate you making time for us. Always a pleasure having you on. We got to do this again as well.
Definitely. Big up Origi.
We're going to talk more about Origi, you know.
Wait until the next time I get Drifty on Aftv, I'm going to bring you both. I'm going to bring all of you.
Make sure you bring me on, you know. Make sure, bro. Make sure.
You on, man. But you have to repeat that because you will.
Will.
That's where you get absolutely destroyed.
Divock's my guy. I'll back him anywhere, anytime, bro.
About my statement. But remember, I never said he was better than Aubameyang. Let's just make that one thing clear before people start. I don't want to hear.
I never said he was better. You know? I'm not stupid. I know he's not better, but he's a good replacement.
Now the internet works now, man. By the time that reached about 10 people, that turned.
Oh boy, no, that wraps us up for today. I mean, The Rock used to say a very famous phrase to take us out, but I'll say a different one. If you smell what Divock is cooking, guys, stay safe. Until we see you next time, stay blessed. Thank you very much for tuning in and see you guys soon.
Peace out, people.
Easy.